Hey man, let's talk about something deeply unsettling yet absolutely vital to understand. We're diving into the final stage of a relationship with a narcissist. When the mask slips, the charm disintegrates, and the person you thought you knew turns into someone you barely recognize. We're talking about why narcissists show you their true colors at the end, and what it reveals not only about them, but about you. At the start, everything seems perfect. The narcissist appears attentive, magnetic, and emotionally available. You feel chosen, special, seen. You're told that you're different. They mirror your values, your dreams, your language, creating a version of connection that feels almost supernatural. But what you're really experiencing is the idealization phase, a meticulously constructed illusion. It's not love, it's a performance. One built not on authenticity, but on control. The narcissist isn't bonding with you. They're studying you, learning your triggers, your hopes, your wounds. And all of this data, it's ammunition for later. But you don't know that yet. In the beginning, all you know is the high, the feeling of being wanted intensely, but no one can perform forever. Eventually, they start to crack, and when the end draws near, the truth explodes in your face, and you realize the person who once held your face in their hands now has no problem destroying you with those same hands. So why does this transformation happen? Why does the end reveal something so vicious, so petty, so cold? Because by the time a narcissist is done with you, you've lost your usefulness. Their affection was never rooted in who you are. It was rooted in what you did for their ego. Did you mirror their greatness? Did you soothe their wounds without challenging them? Did you serve as an emotional punching bag when they were insecure? Good, you served your purpose. But the moment you become a mirror reflecting something real, like their flaws, their cruelty, their inconsistency, you become a threat. And narcissists don't tolerate threats. They erase them, but they don't just leave. That would be too simple. They dismantle you, subtly at first, gaslighting your reality, rewriting history, turning mutual friends against you. Then, when you no longer play nice, the gloves come off. The charming lover becomes the ice-cold stranger. And suddenly, you're not just discarded, you're vilified. This final stage, often called the devaluation and discard phase, is the narcissist's real identity. Everything before it was a smokescreen. The rage, the manipulation, the apathy, they were always there, waiting, and the reason they show up at the end is because now you're finally powerless in their eyes. You've been emotionally worn down, confused, isolated. You might still be in love, still hoping they'll come back, still questioning if it was really your fault. And that's what makes this stage so dangerous. Because now when they treat you with cruelty or indifference, it feels like proof that you were the problem all along. But let me be clear, you were never the problem, you were the mirror. The reminder of what they don't want to see. The one who finally stopped feeding their illusion. And when that happens, the narcissist has to destroy you, not because you deserve it, but because your refusal to serve them exposes the emptiness inside them. Here's the deeper truth. Narcissists don't end relationships to move on. They end them to win. It's not about closure. It's not about peace. It's about control. They need the last word. They need to paint themselves as the victim, the hero, the one who tried. And you're cast as the unstable one, the needy one, the villain. They weaponize your love, twist your emotions, use your vulnerability as evidence against you. And because you're still reeling, still processing, still human, you struggle to defend yourself. That's how they win. Not by being right, but by being louder. And if you try to call them out, they'll accuse you of bitterness. If you remain silent, they'll say you were never invested. It's a no-win game. And that's the whole point. Because the narcissist doesn't want peace. They want submission. And if they can't own you, they'll ruin you. All of this, it's the mask coming off. It's the performance ending. It's who they were all along. But here's what most people never understand. You didn't lose them. You lost the illusion. The real person, the one who lies, manipulates, gaslights, and discards, that was always under the surface. The love was fake. The empathy was staged. The kindness was calculated. What you're grieving isn't them. It's who you thought they were. And that grief is real. It hurts. It lingers. Because the betrayal didn't just come from their cruelty. It came from the fact that they made you feel safe before they made you feel disposable. That's what makes narcissistic abuse so traumatic. Not just the behavior, but the contrast, the before and after, the heaven and hell, the love bombing and the ghosting. It shakes your reality, it makes you doubt your instincts, and it leaves you haunted by one question. Was any of it ever real? And the answer is painful, but freeing. No, not in the way you hoped, and that's exactly why they showed their true colors at the end. In many ways, the end of the relationship is when you finally see clearly, not just them, but yourself. You start to realize how much of your identity was shaped by trying to be good enough for someone who was never capable of loving you in the first place. You remember all the times you ignored your gut, all the ways you bent over backward to keep the peace, all the silent sacrifices you made, hoping they'd finally appreciate you. And as the mask falls from their face, you feel your own soul returning, like someone waking up from a long, confusing dream. You realize that you were not weak for staying, you were hopeful. You believed in potential, you wanted to love someone into wholeness. But narcissists don't want to be whole, they want to be worshipped, and the moment you stop kneeling is the moment they decide you're worthless. That decision isn't about you, it's about their inability to coexist with anyone who won't feed their delusion. What happens next is a second betrayal, one that often hits even harder than the breakup itself. It's the smear campaign, the quiet sabotage, the way they twist the narrative to make it seem like you were the abuser, the unstable one, the toxic force in their life. They do this not just to hurt you, but to protect themselves from shame. Narcissists can't handle the idea that they're flawed, so they rewrite the story. Suddenly your crying becomes manipulative. Your boundaries become controlling. Your reactions, carefully crafted by months or years of emotional neglect, become proof that you were never sane to begin with. And because they move fast, charming new people, planting seeds of doubt, acting like the breakup didn't affect them, it starts to work. Friends go silent. Mutuals pick sides. And you're left wondering, was I crazy? Was I really the problem? But the answer, again, is no. You were not crazy, you were reacting to crazy-making behavior, and that's exactly why they're working so hard to silence you now. The narcissist's true colors always emerge at the end because the illusion no longer serves them. They can't keep playing the role of the lover, the partner, the soulmate, not when their needs are no longer being met, so they shift into a new role, the martyr, the wounded hero, the misunderstood victim of your emotional instability. This switch is strategic. It allows them to continue receiving sympathy, validation, attention, all without having to take responsibility for anything they've done. And the longer you try to expose them, the more you're painted as the bitter ex, the angry one, the one who can't let go. It's a trap designed to keep you emotionally entangled while they walk away clean. And yet, here's the paradox: the more they reveal, the more free you become. Because once you see the game, once you understand the cycle, once the mask is fully off, you can never unsee it. That's when the healing begins. Healing from a narcissistic relationship isn't about getting closure from them. It's about giving yourself clarity. It's about seeing the red flags you ignored, the manipulation you endured, the person you became just to survive. It's about grieving not just the relationship, but the version of you that believed you had to earn love by shrinking. That version of you was brave, loyal, hopeful. But now it's time to become something stronger, wiser. Someone who sees behind the mask from the very beginning, who doesn't confuse intensity with intimacy, who doesn't believe that chaos is a sign of chemistry, who walks away from anyone who demands worship instead of offering connection. Because once you understand why narcissists show their true colors at the end, you realize something powerful. They were never in love with you. They were in love with your reflection of them. And once that reflection cracked, they were gone. So what do you do with that knowledge? You rebuild. Not with rage, but with resolve. Not with bitterness, but with boundaries. You reclaim every part of yourself that you gave away, your time, your voice, your intuition, your worth. And you promise yourself that you'll never again settle for someone who only sees your value when it serves them. You start trusting your gut. You listen when your body feels tense, when your heart feels anxious, when your soul feels confused. Because those feelings aren't weakness, they're warnings. Warnings that something is off, that you're not being seen, not being heard, not being met. And the greatest gift the narcissist ever gave you, ironically, is the pain of that final mask falling. Because now you know. And once you know, you can never go back to sleep. You can only move forward, stronger, clearer, and finally, free. Freedom, however, doesn't come instantly. It comes in layers. At first, it's shaky. You still miss them. You replay the good moments. You wonder if the monster you saw at the end was real, or if somehow you triggered it. This is where many people get pulled back in. Narcissists know this. They rely on it, which is why, even after they've discarded you, they might hover, send a text, like an old photo, drop subtle hints. This is called hoovering, an attempt to see if you're still available to feed their ego. But remember this, if someone can dehumanize you and then reach out like nothing happened, they don't love you, they own you, or at least they think they do. Your power lies in not responding, in understanding that silence isn't weakness, it's protection. Every time you don't reply, every time you block, every time you choose peace over chaos, you're reclaiming your narrative, you're rewriting the ending on your own terms. One of the hardest parts of this process is accepting that there won't be justice. Narcissists rarely get what they deserve, at least not in the way we imagine. They move on, they charm new people, they look happy, and you're left dealing with the emotional rubble. But justice isn't about watching them fall, it's about rising without them. It's about building a life so grounded, so fulfilling, so peaceful, that their memory becomes a distant echo. Not because you forced it, but because you no longer need their validation. And that's the deepest cut for a narcissist. Not your anger, not your revenge, but your indifference. Because when you stop caring, when you truly, genuinely, wholeheartedly, no longer give a damn, that's when they lose all power. The same silence they used to punish you becomes your freedom song. And in that silence, you remember who you were before the mask, before the manipulation, before the story they tried to write you into. And that remembrance is sacred. People often ask, can a narcissist change? And the answer is complicated. Technically, anyone can change, but narcissists rarely want to, because change requires introspection, accountability, vulnerability, and those are the exact things they spend their lives avoiding. Change would mean facing the damage they've caused, confronting the emptiness behind the persona, owning the fact that their love was a transaction, not a gift. And most can't do it, not because they're incapable, but because they're too afraid. Afraid of the shame, the guilt, the exposure, so they run. From partners, from conflict, from truth. And unless something drastically shakes them awake, most never stop running. That's not your burden to carry. You are not their savior. You are not their therapist. You are not the sacrificial lamb for their unhealed wounds. You are a whole, sovereign being. And your job isn't to fix them, it's to free yourself from the idea that you ever could. If there's one thing I want you to take from this talk, it's this: what they did was not your fault. The manipulation, the gaslighting, the devaluation, that was their choice. Not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their fear, their emptiness, their inability to love without strings attached. You may have made mistakes, you may have stayed too long, you may have ignored red flags, but you did so because you love deeply, and that is not a flaw, that's your superpower. Don't let their darkness make you afraid of your own light. Don't let their lies make you question your truth. Don't let their ending define your future. What they showed you at the end wasn't who you were, it was who they'd always been. And now that you know that, your healing becomes unstoppable, your growth becomes non-negotiable, and your peace, it becomes your loudest revenge. So here you are, standing in the aftermath. A little broken, a little wiser, still healing, still reassembling the pieces of your heart. And that's okay, because healing isn't a destination, it's a journey. And this chapter, this painful, confusing, soul-altering chapter, it taught you what no book or video or therapist ever could: the danger of illusions, the value of self-worth, and the unshakable truth that love without respect is not love, it's manipulation. The narcissist didn't break you, they revealed you. They exposed the parts of you that needed protecting, and in that exposure, you found something unshakable yourself. So keep walking, keep healing, keep rising. The storm is over, the mask is gone, and now, finally, you are free to love in truth, to be seen in fullness, and to live without ever again mistaking cruelty for connection. You made it out, and that is everything.